John Felt here. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. This is the first weekly weather briefing for the new year. And once again, third week in a row, we have a lot going on. It's been pretty active. We've had at least one winter storm, sometimes two, each week since well back into December. And we'll have another one this week with a wide variety of impacts. So let's get started in today's briefing. Well, reviewing last week, you can see early in the week, the winter storm, snow. Here's our blizzard conditions along the Great Lakes. Heavy rain with an atmospheric river, enhanced flow in the Pacific Northwest. Then later in the week, that enhanced flow shifted down into California, and more snow here in the Rockies and around Denver area. And then we had severe storm activity along the Gulf Coast. Now here's that lake effect snow. These are clouds, but right along the lee side of the lakes, the airflow blows across the lakes. It's a cold airflow. It moves across the relatively warmer Great Lakes, open water, brings up that moisture, and we get enhanced flow downstream. And that's why we got so much enhanced snow in the Buffalo area. Now we also had the atmospheric river. Look at this. This was a level 4 out of 5. And that was Northern California, parts of Oregon. And if you trace the flow here, you can see it comes all the way from the equatorial Pacific, almost like a La Nina type flow where it pulls that moisture, or I should say more like a hurricane moving inland, where it brings that deep-seated moisture inland. And that's going to be, again, this week. So we took a look at precipitation. What gets your attention is the west coast of the U.S. along the immediate west coast and the Sierra Nevadas, where we've really added some additional snow. And, I've talked about that in a post last week, how that's helping the prospects for water supply, and any rain in California is really helping. So we're chipping away pretty significantly at the drought. We have a long way to go, but this is definitely in most areas, even though we're having some issues with flooding, most areas this is a beneficial rain. So here's where we have snow on the ground. Take a look at the higher elevations here. The Cascades and the Sierras, really some significant snow. We also are beginning to get some snow cover over the upper Midwest, and this is what I will be watching very closely over the next couple months to see how that goes. If we look at where the snow's melting, though, you can see how we are getting a lot of active melt in some areas, and the Northeast, some of that snow is going to go pretty quickly. So you can almost draw a line right through the middle part of the nation. To the east, temperatures below normal a bit, and to the west, temperatures above normal. Sort of nice to see that in Montana. It's been such a brutal winter with those extreme cold temperatures. Nice to see some temperatures above normal for a change. Okay, we look at river flows. It corresponds to where we've had the heavy precipitation right along the west coast, especially California. Those are those blue and black dots, and the northeast U.S. Now, I noticed Memphis here, and I'm going to probably put out a post on this, dig into it a little bit more this week, but the low flows, we had a reprieve here in December, but look how it's really dropped down over the last week. So we're not out of the woods with the low flows on the lower Mississippi. And like I said, I'll dig into that a bit more this week. Okay, so this week, here's our culprit, another storm system that's now affecting the west coast, or has over the weekend, will push into the central U.S. by midweek. There's another system impacting the west coast. So west coast is very busy this week. Actually, so is the central part of the U.S. And then as we get into Saturday, that system has then pushed well to the east. So it's sort of pushing right across the nation this week. Now, as far as temperatures go, the next 5 days, the central and eastern U.S., especially the eastern U.S., will get a reprieve in temperatures, red being above normal. And then as we get into the January 6th through 11th, really not much sign of strong pushes of that cold Arctic air that we saw in December. I just don't see it right now until maybe later in the month. We'll see. But right now, it looks like milder weather. And that doesn't mean it's going to, always be mild behind this system. We're going to have a drop down in temperature, but overall, the average temperature looks pretty mild. Okay, so here's our winter storm this week. We have one coming here, and then another low developing in the Rockies and pushing up towards the northeast. And you can see the animation right here. It looks like a pretty wide variety of impacts. First of all, here's our rain. Take a look at the rain and snow at higher elevations across the west coast. We're looking at 3 to 5 inches of rain along the immediate west coast of California. And then we're looking at moderate rain over the central U.S., parts of the Tennessee and Ohio River Valley. As far as snow goes, in addition to higher elevations, a stripe of snow across parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, up into Minnesota. That could be 4 to 8 inches of snow. And I want to point out we could get some significant ice conditions as well, especially along the Minnesota-Iowa border. So we put that together, and it looks like a lot of impacts this week. This is moderate or major impacts due to winter weather in these areas shaded in orange and red. I want to bring to your attention an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, of severe storms tomorrow, and that pushes off into the southeast on Tuesday. Atmospheric river, not quite as high as last week. It's a 3, but that still looks like very heavy rain across the west coast. And then also the chance of some excessive rain Monday and Tuesday over the south. So it looks like a pretty busy week with that winter storm. And let's look a little bit further out for the next couple weeks. And I just want to show you a lot of that orange or red. So really no signs of a strong push of cold weather. It does look like temperatures above normal over most parts of the nation. And here's our precipitation. It looks like that wet weather is going to continue in California. Like I said, there'll be some problems with it, definitely with landslides, mudslides, debris flows, localized urban flooding, and even some river flooding. But it does look like a lot of this will be beneficial rain as well, and that could go right through the next 2 weeks. Hope you have a great New Year's and a great 2023. I'll be talking with you again next weekend. Take care.